Hello everyone and welcome to Vegas Showbiz. In this video I'm excited to share with you a slideshow and review of the Valley of Fire, which was the first state park in Nevada. My family and I had the pleasure of visiting this amazing place during Memorial Day weekend of 2023. It was our first visit, but we definitely plan on returning. I've got a lot of great photography to share with you today. I've also been scouring their website collecting important information, so I want to give you all that stuff. And then if you stick around for the end, I've got a bunch of pro tips that I put together based on our experience there. Before we get into all this good stuff, just one small favor to ask. If you could please help me out, just subscribe to the Vegas Showbiz YouTube channel and you'll be on top of all the great content that we're producing on a regular basis. Alright, with that said, let's jump right into it. I'm going to start off with information that came straight from their website, and then we'll get into my personal review of the place. So, world-renowned for its 40,000 acres of bright red Aztec sandstone, outcrops nestled in gray and tan limestone, Valley of Fire State Park contains ancient, petrified trees and petroglyphs dating back more than 2,000 years. A visitor center provides exhibits on the geology, ecology, prehistory, and history of the park and nearby regions. The sandstone is from the Jurassic period and is the remnant of the sand left behind the wind after inland seas subsided and the land rose. Early man moved into southern Nevada as far back as 11,000 years ago. The most obvious evidence of occupation is the petroglyphs carved into the rocks by the basket maker culture about 2,500 years ago, followed later by the early Pueblo culture. Paiutes were living in this area in 1865 when Mormons settled at nearby St. Thomas at the south end of the Moapa Valley. Farming, ranching, and mining occurred in the region along a narrow stretch of water. A rough road was built through this area in 1912 as part of the Arrowhead Trail connecting Salt Lake City with Los Angeles. This road allowed people to travel through what became known as the Valley of Fire. In the 1920s, the name was coined by an AAA official traveling through the park at sunset. This person purportedly said that the entire valley looked like it was on fire, hence the name. It was also during the 1920s that the archaeological richness and recreational possibilities of the area were recognized, and about 8,500 acres of federal public domain, the original Valley of Fire tract, were given to the state of Nevada. In 1933, the Civilian Conservation Corps built the first facilities on the campgrounds in the park. On Easter Sunday, 1934, Valley of Fire was formally opened as Nevada's first state park. However, the park didn't receive its legal designation from the Nevada State Legislature until the body convened in 1935. Since then, the park has grown to its present size of more than 40,000 acres of multicolored rock, displaying a varied array of shapes and textures. So that's a little bit of historical significance on the place. Let me get into some of the facts, just important bits to know about Valley of Fire. So its hours, they are open daily from sunrise to sunset. They do provide 24-hour access to the campgrounds. As far as entrance fees, it's going to be $10 for Nevada vehicles or $15 for non-Nevada vehicles. They only accept cash if you have exact change. If you don't have the exact amount, they do not make change for you, but they do accept credit cards. And it's also worth noting that national park passes are not accepted at Valley of Fire. Now, if you're looking for camping options, there are 2 campgrounds within the site, combining 72 total units. Campsites are equipped with shaded tables, grills, water, and restrooms. A dump station and showers are available. All campsites are first come, first served, and a camping limit of 14 days within a 30-day period is enforced. Now, if you have an RV, they do provide RV sites with power and water hookups if that's what you need. Now, if you have a group and you want to do a group use campsite, there are 3 group use campsites available, each accommodating up to 45 people. There is no minimum person count for these sites. The sites are available for overnight camping by reservation only. Group use reservations are accepted beginning on the first Wednesday of November at 9 a.m. for the coming year. Reservations can be made Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. by telephone at area code 702-397-2088. From the main menu, press 3 for group use information and then 1 to check availability for or make a reservation. The park does not accept reservations by email, fax, U.S. mail, or even in person. A reservation fee of $25 per site per night must be paid at the time of the booking. Camping and day use fees of $20 per vehicle per night for Nevada residents or $25 per vehicle per night for non-Nevada residents must be paid upon arrival. Now, if you're there for the day and you're looking to do some picnicking, shaded areas with restrooms are provided at the following spots. So you've got one at Atlatl Rock, Seven Sisters, Mouse's Tank Trailhead, White Domes, and the Cabins. Now, for hikers, this place is awesome. We were definitely there to do some hiking. There are many intriguing hikes available to visitors. You can inquire at the Visitor Center for suggestions on day hikes of varying lengths and terrain. For visitor information, the Visitor Center provides exhibits on the geology, ecology, prehistory, and history of the park and the nearby regions. It's strongly recommended that each visitor make this an early stop after entering the park. They've got postcards and books and souvenirs for sale. The center is open from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. The rest of the park closes at sunset. Now, if you are camping there and you're looking for internet access, Wi-Fi access is available. They do have a pricing plan for that, so you can inquire on that when you get there. As far as the park hours, they're open 7 days a week, 365 days a year, but it definitely gets hot in the summer, so I would recommend going either in the springtime or in the fall. You're just going to want to plan for the weather. Let's see, so Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. are the office hours, and they are closed on state holidays. As far as my personal review, as I mentioned at the beginning, I was there with family. My wife and I brought our 3 kids who are between the ages of 8 and 11. We like to do hiking. My wife is really into it, but the kids, not quite as much. We got there early, about 8:30 a.m. is when we arrived, and we were able to roll right in, no problem. When we were leaving at about 12:30, it was, Saturday of Memorial Day weekend, and there was a very long line of cars to come in. I highly recommend coming in earlier in the morning. Not only are you going to beat the heat, but if it's a weekend, you're just going to avoid the crowds as well. It was getting so much more busy as we were leaving. It just doesn't make a lot of sense to me at this time in late May. It's in the 90s each day now, and it's so hot out there. There's very little shaded area. If you're arriving around noon, you're coming at about the worst time you can in terms of the heat. So I would definitely recommend getting there early like we did. It was absolutely gorgeous. I mean, the natural stone attractions are like nothing you've ever really seen. There's some stuff like this in Utah and in Arizona as well, but this was just such a concentrated, beautiful area with driving trails. If you've ever experienced Red Rocks in the west side of Las Vegas, it's similar to that, but kind of more spread out, more hiking in my opinion. I would definitely say that this is a little bit of a notch above Red Rocks in my opinion. Keep an eye out for wildlife. We saw 2 beautiful large bighorn sheep crossing a street just randomly as we were heading down one of the little 2-lane roads there, and we totally stopped just to watch them go by. That was one of the highlights of the day for sure. We also saw a bunch of different lizards, which were really cool. We saw some large ones and some small ones. They were out and about. There were groups of them. Really cool. If you're kind of moving slowly and you're keeping your eyes open, not making too much noise, you're going to see a lot of cool stuff like this, so keep an eye out for that. If you're a hiker, there are various levels of hiking available. We saw people of all ages out there hiking, and I mean all ages. I mean, there were some couples out there like in their 90s with canes and stuff that were still out there, and talk about inspiration. I mean, they were really cool. We were out there with our kids. We saw younger kids. In some cases, people even had babies. So there's hiking for everybody, but some of the trails are going to be more advanced than others, so you're going to want to kind of pick and choose where you go depending on who you've got with you, what your demographic is basically. So that's kind of my thoughts on the place, is that it's gorgeous. You've got to have your camera with you. You're never going to see things like this frequently, so it's well worth checking out. I've got some pro tips here. This is just based on our experience and also some things that we noticed other folks doing that seemed like they were kind of missing something. So first of all, bring plenty of water. As I've mentioned so many times, it's super hot. I can't tell you how many people or even groups of people we saw that didn't have any water with them, and it just makes no sense. I mean, one thing goes wrong while you're out there hiking, it's pretty remote, you could be stuck there for a little bit. You got to have plenty of water. I would suggest having a backpack and everybody having a medium to large size bottle of water with them. Maybe we're over prepared, but these are extreme conditions, so have a lot of water with you. The next is regarding the footwear that you choose. Wear appropriate hiking boots or shoes. There's a lot of very sandy terrain. I saw people struggling with this in sandals, Tevas and stuff like that, and it's so much better if you have the right types of shoes on. If you have a proper pair of hiking boots with tall socks, you're going to do so much better in the sandy terrain. My daughter was wearing nice tennis shoes, but they were low, and she had low socks, and kept getting a bunch of sand in her feet, and it was really a hassle for her. So if you're wearing more appropriate hiking shoes, you're going to do a little bit better there. I would also recommend bringing a change of clothing and shoes. You know, you're out there hiking in pretty extreme temperatures. There's sand, there's dust. By the time you're done and ready to go home, it's so nice to be able to take off those shoes, maybe throw on like a different t-shirt or something like that. You know, maybe you can save your sandals for wearing them on the way home. Also with the clothing, I recommend lightweight, long sleeve shirts to wear out there. And this is mostly about sun protection. It's extreme sun, and you see some people that are out there, like I saw several guys out there with no shirt, just walking around as if they're working on their suntan or showing off their physique or something. And it's just not the right setting for that. It's a great way to get yourself dehydrated real quickly and start getting heat stroke. So we were all wearing light colored, long sleeve, light fabric shirts that would protect ourselves from too much sun exposure. Let's see, arrive early, both to beat the heat and the traffic. I mentioned this before. It gets very busy, especially on the weekends, so getting there early is going to serve you well. Also, don't take a ride service like an Uber or a taxi cab to get out there, because while you can do that, you're most likely not going to have an easy way to get back, and there's very limited cell service when you get out there. So you're much better off if you need to rent a car or borrow a car, you know, whatever you have to do, don't take an Uber to get out there. As far as where it's located, I meant to mention this before, but it's about an hour north from Las Vegas. So if you were coming from the Strip, for example, you would go north on I-15 for about an hour. Actually, it's not an hour on I-15. It would probably be more like 40 minutes on I-15. Exit 75, and then you're on this little two-lane road for 11 or 12 miles, and it only goes to the park. So once you're off at exit 75, you're just on this two-lane road. It takes you straight to the park, and within an hour, you'll be arriving there. Once you're inside the park, drive only on approved routes and travel. Only park in designated areas, along the roadside or on the shoulders. Motor vehicles are not allowed on trails, so you got to stick to the appropriate spots here for cars. If you're going to camp, obviously you only want to camp in designated campground sites, and this is about safety more than anything. There's a lot of wildlife out there. It could become very dangerous to be in a super remote location camping out there, so don't do that. If you do want to bring your pets with you, pets are welcome, but they must be kept on a leash of not more than 6 feet in length, and the pets are not allowed inside the visitor center. If you're a rock climber, rock climbing is limited to specific areas in the park, so there are places that you can do it, but it's certainly not going to be everywhere. You can inquire at the visitor center about that. If you like to fly drones, which I personally do, but don't bring them with you when you're out there, use of drones or any remote-controlled aircraft is not allowed whatsoever at Valley of Fire. But do bring your camera. I mean, as you can see from the photos that I've been sharing here, it's just such a beautiful place. Really just a special spot if you like to get into photography. So I hope you enjoyed the photography that I've shared with you today. I hope this information has been valuable to you, and if so, again, if you're getting value out of our content, please help me out by hitting that subscribe button. All right, that's all I've got for you today. Please feel free to leave comments. What did you think of the review? Have you been there yourself? Please let us know what you think of Valley of Fire as well. We welcome all comments and very much appreciate you watching this video. Look forward to seeing you in the next one. Thank you.